evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for our test taking strategies for the Georgia Milestone assessments tonight for grade levels 3 through 5. We want to welcome you this evening, and please know that this will be recorded. So if you were not able to join us on the night of the recording, the actual meeting, please don't worry. This will be posted to our Class Dojo page, our school YouTube page, as well as our school weekly newsletter. So, without further ado, if you're joining us, please drop your first and last name as well as your student's first and last name in the chat. And please note that the chat will be monitored during the presentation. So if you have any questions at any time, you can raise your hand at the top, or you can simply unmute your mic and ask your question. And our workshop this night will be brought to us by our wonderful literacy coach, Mrs. Stacy Hubbard. And thank you so much, Mrs. Hubbard, in advance for doing this workshop for us this evening.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, and I am going to turn this over to you. It once again, ladies and gentlemen, is being recorded. So if you miss anything or if you join us late, please feel free to ask us any questions, or you'll be able to view this at another time. All right, Mrs. Hubbard, it's all on you.
Okay. I am so sorry for switching screens like that. Okay. So I was trying. I'm not sure if you were able to see who. Oh, there we go. We got some people in the lobby. Okay. So let me just go ahead and start from the beginning. So again, welcome to our parent workshop. And today's parent workshop, everyone, is on test taking strategies for the Georgia Milestone Assessment for grades 3 through 5. And even though I'm talking about grades specifically for grades 3 through 5, I'm also going to include a little bit about our babies for K through 2. So, we kind of like want to get them ready for this whole experience of assessment land. So without further ado, thank you for signing in. I'm pretty sure that Ms. Freeman has dropped it in the chat for you, including your information for your sign in. And I want to just focus on what our takeaways are for today's event. So the purpose of this workshop is really to give you a little bit of idea of some possible test taking strategies that you can use to prepare your students, your children for the Georgia Milestone, and kind of like familiarize yourself with the test taking platform as well as the content that is being provided. So we're going to specifically go through some math strategies and some reading strategies, okay? And at the end, you are so welcome to ask questions and give an evaluation of what you have received today. All right. So again, the 1, 2, 3 of this is math strategies, and then after that, I'm going to kind of like jump into what you can do prepare your student for the day of the test, some literacy strategies, and some helpful, hopefully very helpful strategies. Links that you can use when you're at home with your child. So, you know what? I am going to stop and let me give me 1 minute.
No problem. While you're doing that, thank you so much. I see Miss Gwen has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Yes,
If
I
you
have
have
to make
any
sure.
questions at any time, please feel free to unmute your mic. If you're or if you want to drop a question in the chat, please feel free to drop any questions that you have at any time.
Okay.
Good evening,
So,
Miss Wallace.
before we can really start, I want to give you this. Can you hear that?
Yep, we can hear it, Hubbard.
Okay, great.
Georgia students, parents, and educators have big goals, and now they have a tool to help them navigate their way. The Georgia Milestones Assessment System. Georgia Milestones provides a clear signal of students' academic performance, including how well they're prepared for what's next, whether that's the next grade, next course, or starting college or a career. Think of Georgia Milestones as a map. It provides information on students' academic journeys, including how well they've mastered the content and skills at each grade or milestone. Georgia Milestones is developed and owned by Georgia and created in partnership with Georgia educators, colleges, universities, and businesses. Old methods of standardized testing are on the way out. Georgia Milestones provides an engaging, innovative testing experience. Students will take tests online, leveraging the power of computers and tablets. Students will still see multiple choice questions, but they will also encounter other questions where they'll be required to demonstrate what they know and can do. Constructed response questions will require students to create an answer rather than select one. Extended response questions will have multiple parts, requiring students to demonstrate a deeper level of understanding and reasoning. Students will interact with technology-enhanced questions. This could involve shading an object, editing text, or classifying items. These questions are more engaging and give students a better opportunity to demonstrate what they've learned. Georgia Milestones includes end-of-grade assessments in grades 3 through 8 and end-of-course assessments in high school. Content areas include English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. Results will provide critical information on overall student performance and specific data on skills like reading and writing. Students will receive Lexile scores, which help match students' reading skill with appropriate reading materials. Georgia Milestones will also provide norm reference scores, which tell students how they achieved relative to students across the country. Parents will see how well their student has mastered state academic standards and how prepared he or she is for the next educational level. Teachers will have actionable information for remediation and enrichment efforts. And schools can use this information to identify program strengths and weaknesses. It's amazing how far good information can take us. Georgia Milestones is an innovative assessment program that will help us reach our ultimate goal: successful Georgia graduates ready to embark on their next journey in life.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there and just make sure I switch back. I'm going to stop it right there, and I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the things that you probably saw. Georgia Milestones will cover the math, reading, writing, science, and social studies. It covers grades 3 through 5. And you'll notice that, your child will be expected to do this assessment using a tablet, using a computer. And it's a lot of detailed information that's provided within the Georgia Milestone that we receive. But one of the things I want you to understand is that it's a high leverage test that requires a lot more thinking than just hitting A, B, or C. And so that means our test taking strategies really, really have to be on point to be successful. So when we're talking about our test taking strategies, I want to dial a little bit back because I really want to focus on our goals for this Georgia Milestone. So we here at Brookview, we definitely always expecting the best out of all of our students because every day we are great on purpose. So just because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we still are expecting greatness from our students. So our goals are for our students to be able to achieve at least 20%, be at 20% for third through fifth. For that means achieving that level 3 or level 4 for Georgia Milestone, and 20% for grades 3 through 5 to again achieve level 3 or 4 for the mathematics. So when I say level 3, level 4, that's mainly when we receive our scores back. Our students are scored from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 4 and We have some more people in the lobby. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
I got
listening,
you.
man, Hubbard. I got you on that part.
Okay, so we have some when we at level 4, that's exemplary, and that's the highest level. When you talk about level 3, again, that's proficient, and level 2 is also considered to be like developing, and level 1 is like beginning level. So we strive for our students to be at that level 3 and 4, and even level 2 is at this point. So we definitely want to have our goals set high for our students to be able to achieve more. As you already know, we are in the middle of a pandemic. So the last time we did do our Georgia milestones was in 2019. 2019, 2020, we did not statewide. All no one did Georgia milestone, and we will be now resuming Georgia milestones for the year 2021. So our last score results are here, as you can see on the screen. We can see that when we looking at where our proficient and distinguished levels are, is where you see the teal colors, and our goal is to really increase our proficiency and distinguished levels. And I had misspoke earlier. Level 4 is distinguished. I couldn't think about it at the time, so excuse me for that. So here we are trying to increase that area of our results. Most of our students fall in the area of developing, but again, we are striving again for more of our students to fall into the proficient and distinguished. So that's our goal moving forward. And so that all brings us to why we want to make sure that our students are prepared well for this test. So a lot of that starts at home. Just all the things that you do to encourage your children to get out the house and do their best every day is exactly the same thing that we expect on a testing day. So making sure that they get ample sleep, reminding them of all the things that they need to do to prepare and plan for the test on plan for that test taking day, to make sure that they get a good nutritious meal, making sure that you probably want to avoid some of the sugary cereals, but just really a good sound meal. We also provide wonderful nutritious meals at Brookview, also on the day of testing. You want to make sure that your child receives set aside some time the night before, just prior to the test, just to review and cover some concepts and some test taking strategies, which we will share in this presentation. And then again, it's not a moment for you to really pressure your child, but also just encouraging them to do their very best every day. And that is something that you're going to do naturally, because every day your child comes to Brookview, they do their very best. So you just want to naturally just continue to encourage that expectation. When we're thinking about, again, additional preparation for the test, we want to again help them visualize the success. Like, I see you getting 100%, or I see you finishing strong at the end of the reading or math test. Continue to use the positive language, and again, work with our teachers in making sure that they are doing all the things that they're supposed to do every day up until the day of the test. So if that's just going over their homework or checking into their iReady portal to see how they've been doing, those are great resources and ways to make sure that your child will be prepared for the test. And of course, you want to avoid, again, any oversleeping, stand up playing Fortnite. That's not the time to do that. That's not where we want them to be. But we do want to make sure that they have enough rest on that day. And then also, if they are possibly sick, well, it's okay for them to stay home, and then know that there are makeup days, but just let them stay home and rest so that they can get the proper medical attention that they need. So enough of all that. I'm going to spend some time talking about some math strategies. And math strategies are exactly where we want to focus our attention on. One of the best school improvement coaches in math, and that's Miss Worthy, and she has done a great job with a previous parent workshop on math, and she shared a plethora of math strategies. So I'm going to just take a few from where she probably left off and add to that. So, we have all these strategies here are all available in the parent resource, which will be dropped in the chat. But I'm just going to highlight, we have order of operations where we talk about, just figuring out how to tackle those order operation problems. We have cubes, where we are trying to figure out like how to address math problems, word problems by circling keywords and underlining the question, and then also boxing certain math words, and just making sure that you're eliminating unnecessary information, and double checking your work after you finish. It's always important to go back and look for those clue words that help you identify if you're going to add or if you're going to subtract or multiply, divide. And please understand that as you know, math is not how we used to do it, where you just kind of like, you think it's just one way, one strategy. There's multiple strategies that our students have to be able to show understanding of. And when that comes into play, like when we talk about multiplication and even division, there's multiple strategies that the test would ask them to demonstrate. So here on the screen, you'll see an example of partial products. And this is, again, a form of multiplication. But then I also want to do the multiplication using the area model. So being able to show how to do multiplication in various ways is an important test-taking strategy that need to be demonstrated on the Georgia milestone. So enough of me talking about all these different math strategies. I would love to share with you a video. And this is a video on how to, I think it's on cubes, not cubes. Yeah, cubes, math solving strategy. So I'm going to start this right now. And where am I? Here we go.
Welcome to Miss Tally's math class. Have you ever gotten frustrated with solving a math word problem? If so, you have come to the right place. I'll be guiding you through a short strategy that will help you solve any math word problem. It's called cubes. Cubes is an easy strategy that stands for circle in the key numbers, U for underline the question, B, box any math action words, E, evaluate, ask yourself what steps do I take, and S, solve and check. Does my answer make sense, and how can I double check? So let's begin with the problem. Here I have a multi-step word problem. The question says that Victoria walked 5 blocks from her house to the bus stop. She rode the bus 7 blocks to the library. Later, she came...
I'm pausing it just in case that you may want to solve this problem. You can get you a piece of paper and you can start working out the problem right along with the video.
Home the same way. How many blocks did Victoria travel in all? Let's begin with the first letter, C. C stands for circle. We always need to circle the key numbers of our problem. So let's circle 5 and 7 because the problem said she walked 5 blocks from her house to the bus stop and she rode 7 blocks to the library. The next step is U. U stands for underline. Now we need to underline what the problem is asking us. Let's underline how many blocks did Victoria travel in all. So far we circled 5 and 7 and underlined how many blocks did Victoria travel in all. Now we are at the letter B, that stands for box. Our next step is to box any math action words. When we look at the problem, we see that Victoria walked 5 blocks and rode 7 blocks to the library, and the same distance back home. The question asks how many blocks did she travel in all. So I'm going to box the words in all because it tells me that I need to add. E stands for evaluate. Let's evaluate what steps to take. Let's start with Victoria's walk to the bus stop. She walks 5 blocks from her home to the bus stop. From the bus stop, it takes 7 blocks to get to the library. 7 plus 5 equals 12. When she returns home, she takes the same way. Our last step is S, for solve and check. So let's solve our problem. We can add 12 plus 12 because that gives us 24. Altogether, she traveled 24 blocks in all. Now let's check our answer. The last step asks us to double check our work and to see if our answer makes sense. The answer we got was 24, so let's subtract each number that we have and we should get 0 as our answer. There you go. Wasn't that easy? We solved the problem by circling key numbers, underlining the question, boxing math action words, evaluating our steps, and solving our problem and checking our answer. Always use cubes to solve any math word problem. Just try it yourself.
Okay, so I'm gonna just take a minute to just go back over some of the things that they talked about. So one of the things I want you to understand that using a strategy like cubes really allow the kids to want to take their time and really make sure that they're going through the steps. And you want your child to make sure that they're going through the steps because you can see that we had some addition going on and then some subtraction when we was checking our problem. So all that is important because I'm going to remember, okay, what do I do first? What do I do second? What do I do third? And did I go back and really understand what the problem is asking me to do? So using strategies like this really keeps your child on track and being more successful throughout the entire assessment for math. So with that being said, I want to just skip over here to our reading strategies. Now, as I'm transitioning into reading strategies from math strategies, I want to tell you, as a Fulton County parent, you have access to lots of great resources. And being a part of Brookview, your child also has access to these resources. So we at Brookview, every teacher uses iReady. iReady is an amazing resource, and we use that consistently every day. So one of the things that you can definitely ask your child is like, hey, let's go back over your math lesson in the iReady platform. The same thing for reading. You can do the same thing for reading. But and when you're using those resources, you're using those resources, one, to kind of like go through it and understand for yourself because you can play the videos over, but then also you're getting your child to again explain their thinking and share with you how they're focused on their learning. And again, that builds more buy-in for them being successful. So I hope that you try that strategy and that particular resource. A second resource I want to highlight right now is also our Mayan. Our school have purchased Mayan, and Mayan is like a digital resource. And I want to just go over here to my class link, and I can't really go in and show you how it looks from my side because I'm on the admin, but the icon looks like this. This is our Mayan icon, and the other icon I just spoke about was the iReady. So these two, the iReady and the Mayan, are the two important resources that you have available to you. So when I talk about Mayan is a digital library. Yes, a digital library, and your child has access to so many books at the just a search button. So that means that your child can be reading any book that they choose to read, and they can be reading often. They parents many other teachers do assign books and book bundles for them to read on a daily basis. So you always can ask your child, what are you reading today? What are you reading this week? And they should be able to again explain what they're reading or give you a summarization of what they read so far. So I hope those two resources are actively used for math as well as for reading, especially the Mayan. So when we're talking about some reading strategies, some important things that you want to make sure that you're doing is just really asking your child, like, hey, okay, you read the story. Can you underline what the main idea is, or could you underline some important information or details in the story? And again, even if it's a digital resource, they have these annotating tools like a marker, a highlighter, just like if you had a regular book, and they can do those things. So if they're face to face and you have not face to face, of course they're face to face, they're your children. If they when they're at home and they have a book of their own, you can ask them to use a sticky note, and they can write down some things, stop and jot, and some ideas of what happened in this chapter. So as they're reading, they're kind of like putting little thoughts about what they liked about the chapter, or what they found most important about the chapter, or what was the highlight of that story. So asking them to do some discussion notes, or some little points of questions throughout the reading, that helps them again remember what they have read and focus again on what they have read. Also, make sure that you are asking really authentic questions, because remember, you're not you're not exactly reading the book with your child, but you really want to ask those questions to like get your child to really explain things to you. Like, wow, I never. Can you tell me more? If your child is reading about bees, oh wow, could you tell me more about bees? Do bees sting? And what happens if I get stung? What should I do? Your child should be able to give you lots of great information, because they're reading a book, an informational book that gives you information about what they read. So that's something that you want to do. Continue to allow them to read, and you listen to what they're sharing with you from the reading. Another thing, I really like this one strategy, the problem solution notes, where you're, kind of like writing down 2 columns. One column of that, I'm sorry, you have 2 columns, and with these questions, what's the problem, what causes the problems, what are the effects of the problems, what are the solutions. So that kind of like gives the child different perspectives of what happened, and how that story developed over the course. It might have changed in different parts of the story. So that's a different thing that you can do with your child as well. Now, one more thing I want to share is a race strategy. And I think I got the video here. Oops, sorry. That's cute. Okay. So I'm hoping that you all will be able to hear this whole thing, but if you don't hear it, please let me know. I'll hit it from here.
Today we're going to talk about how to answer constructive response or short answer questions.
Can you hear it?
I'm sorry, I was just saying the sound was good. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Our essential question for this lesson is, why is it important to have strategies to use when approaching short answer and essay questions? Think about, why would we want to have a system in order to approach these questions?
I'm sorry.
To start with, we're going to look at constructive response and short answer questions. What does that even mean? Basically, it's asking you to apply your knowledge and understanding in a short written answer. The difference between a constructed response and a short answer: a constructed response is a response to a document. You read something and you answer a question based on what you've read. A short answer may or may not have a document for you to read and respond to. Like a traditional essay, the first thing that you should do is read the entire question. What is it that they're asking you for? They're asking you to explain, elaborate, illustrate. Other words you might think to hear is demonstrate or clarify. You want to make sure that you understand the prompt. Try and put it in your own words. And then list items that you need to identify and facts and examples to support your answer. Brainstorming is just as important in a short response as it is a fully developed essay. The strategy we're going to use is the acronym RACE. R-A-C-E. Reword, answer, cite evidence, and explain. The R in RACE stands for reword. Restate the question and make it into a statement as part of the answer you provide. If the question says on a science test, what color is the sky? And you say, the color of the sky is usually blue. That would be an example of rewording. The second step in RACE is to answer. Show how you arrived at your answer with general reasons. Usually the R and A in RACE are in the same sentence. What color is the sky? The color of the sky is usually blue because of how we see light waves and weather conditions. So the R and A, reword and answer, are often the first sentence in your response. The letter C in RACE stands for cite evidence or examples. You want to use facts and examples to support what you're saying. The sky is usually blue because of how we see light waves and the weather conditions. That's our R and our A. Our C. According to scientists, humans see blue sky based on what kinds of light waves are visualized in the eye, how sunny the day is, and the direction of the sunlight. After you cite your examples, you've got to explain what you're talking about. You have to elaborate on your evidence. The sky is usually blue because of how we see light waves and the weather conditions. According to scientists, humans see blue sky based on what kinds of light waves are visualized in the eye, how sunny the day is, and the direction of the sunlight. Here comes our explanation. On a clear sunny day, the sun is directly shining on us. Because of the molecules in the air reflect the scattered blue light waves more than red or orange when it bounces off direct sunlight, we see blue. As the sun sets, the direction of its light goes away from us, so the molecules reflect the red or orange waves of light that we see at sunsets.
So I'm going to pause it right here only because I have a couple other things I want to share with you. But just with just a little bit of brief explanation of that RACE strategy, that is really, very helpful when we are talking about when we in reading, we have a lot of times we read the passage and those constructive responses appear, and the student just can't say, well, because the dog ran up the hill. They really do have to go through and explain and document, cite the evidence from the passage of why the dog may have been startled from the truck driving by. So they would have given a very thorough explanation, but in written form. And so that would be very useful for your child to use. And that video again will be in the presentation when you get the link. But I do want to spend some time talking about where you can find more information and about our Georgia Milestone resources. And on the DOE website, this website allows you to actually look at and the study guides and resources. So I really do suggest that you spend some time going through these documents with your son or daughter, and they do have it for both math and reading. Okay. Another resource that you also have in here is a link that gives you a little practice. And so this one is a website just for you to get an idea. And I noticed it started from second grade, and I was like, wow, that's cool. So when you're using this is just kind of like to give you an idea of what your child may have to read and get through. So for example, when I select the second grade, this is considered a second grade passage, and I just want to use this scroll bar to just scroll all the way down to the end. Okay, so this is a good meaty article, but that child is expected to read this entire passage to answer the 3 questions that go with it. So that's one of the reasons why I really suggested the Mayan for your child to continue to read and really just say every day, have you read? How many minutes have you read? To build the stamina to read so much of the text. Okay, and the same is true for all of the passages. You can select either math or reading, and when you select math or reading, you can get a chance to get a feel of it. If I was doing the ELA, I'm just going to just click that real quick. You can do a couple of different practice tests for to go through if you want to focus on a specific uh, I want to say standard, yeah, basically standard. It does break it down for literature and informational. So that it gives you just a few questions that you can preview. It's like a freebie. It gives you like about 3. But if you was kind of like, I think if you signed up for it, which I don't suggest, but I do say it's a good practice. So your real resource should come from the Georgia Milestone. Okay. And on that note, are there any questions?
No questions in the chat.
Awesome. I hope that everyone found this information very beneficial. And remember, here at Brookview, we are here to serve you. If you have any questions, you can ask myself. You can ask any one of our instructional leadership team. That would be Ms. Cooking, who serves as our curriculum support teacher, Ms. Worthy, who serves as our math school improvement coach, or myself, and I am Ms. Hubbard, who serves as the school improvement coach for literacy, and we'll be happy to help you. And of course, we leave all our resources with Ms. Freeman, and you can check them out at any time. Thank you. You want to stop sharing? Should I stop sharing? Oh, you are on mute, Miss Freeman.
Freeman, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you so much. I had a whole wonderful speech for you, Hubbard. But I'm not going to reinvent it because it's not going to sound as authentic as the first time. But I wanted to seriously thank you again for this presentation, especially as a parent also, because I have a 4th grader about to take this test. So this was really informational for me as well. So I do appreciate you again for being at home and doing this wonderful presentation for us this evening. And once again, it is being recorded, so it will be uploaded to our YouTube page as well as dropped into our school weekly newsletter that comes out tomorrow, as well as on our Class Dojo. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for Title I. That evaluation link that you see on the screen, you can scan that QR code, or I have dropped the evaluation link in the chat. And that survey is just to let us know how you like this workshop, how you felt about it. Was it helpful? Did you feel like something needed to be added? We just really want to know your thoughts and concerns or questions or, good things, of course, as well. So, we would appreciate greatly if you would do that evaluation, as it is a part of our Title I requirement as well.
So in there, when you complete the form, it doesn't have one that specifically states the Georgia Milestone. So make sure you select the parent workshop so that we get the credit for this. And we want to make sure that we get feedback as well.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that. So does anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop recording.
And thank